to be Amo-Mensah, and I'm going to be your instructor for the next half an hour or so. So I will begin. But first, let's go over what we are doing. First, we want to be familiar again with the Excel window. We want to be able to identify the tabs, the ribbon, and how to use those formulas and those nice keys and icons in there. We would enter values and labels and format them and use colors to make it look nice and presentable. We will use conditional formatting to highlight important numbers in our budget. We'll learn how to use the rename, change the default sheet names to names that we want to use. In this case, it would be months. And then we would use the summary sheet to pull numbers from the other sheets into our summary sheet. So let's begin. In the meantime, please get your papers and pencils and write down questions and things you note that you want us to go over one more time while I go over the demonstrations up here. So I just want you to observe now while I demonstrate. So I'm just opening a blank spreadsheet. So that this is a blank spreadsheet. You see the grids, you see the column headings, A, B, C, D, and then you see row numbers. And again, this is your tabs. Each tab has its own ribbon. Right, so this is a blank sheet, there's nothing in it, and we're going to create a budget with this. First, I'm going to enter the first label here. I want to call this our budget for 2016. So I highlight and I want to merge this so that it goes across all the columns. So I just merged it. I'm going to type the label in there. So we call this 2016 budget. That's it. And then I want to create nice labels for each of the columns that I will use. So here I want to type of income. See that it goes over the columns, so I'm going to widen it out a little bit. The next one I want to call the description. That's to give me some more information. And again, it goes over the column, so I'll widen it out a little bit. The next one, I want to put amounts here. Sorry. Amounts, and I want to indicate that each of these amounts are dollar amounts. So I'll type it up here. And then the last one is going to be my total amounts. So again, I've indicated at the top that these are all dollar amounts. Again, I'll widen this out a little bit. I want to format these columns to wrap the numbers with the comma sign and the thousand separator. So again, I launch my number, and then I say use the number, use 2 decimal places, indicate a thousand separator. If I have a negative number, I want it to be read in parentheses. So choose that, and then I would say okay. So each cell here is going to wrap and show the values the way I have formatted it. Okay, I want to list the sources of my income here. So I'm gonna first type my regular job. Next is gonna be a second job if I have it. And I would put some more information in this. And then if I have a weekend job, again, as an idea, these are the sort of things we should be thinking about just so that we can increase our earning potential. On this side, I want to indicate that all of this are the different incomes that I get. So again, I'll merge these cells with a merge. And then I want to show the text direction to be up, look up, so that I have, and I'm just going to say incomes, and then that, and again I would middle align it, center it. Then if I want to add a background, I'll fill with green. Incomes are good, so we want it to be green. Over here, I will just type my total income here. I'm going to do the same for expenses. So that we can speed up this, I'm just going to pause and then show that after that. So let's pause and then I'll show it here. We're back, and as you can see, I have added some more information to make it a bit more understandable. So I described the kind of job that, and again, these are ideas that we should, if we are not already doing it, can consider. I have made a list of expenses that are kind of typical for most people, and again, some explanation of that here. You see how my labels here, I'm going to give it a background so that it looks a bit more clear. So again, I just highlight it, I go to fill, and I want to add a background, so it's gone. I added a black background. I want the text to stand out, so I'll just choose a white text. I want it to sit at the center of each label, nice and clear, so I would center that, and then I'll apply bold, so that is sitting there and it's clear, everybody can see it. Do the same for my surplus. So I want to subtract my income from my expenses, but the other way around, subtract expenses from income, so we would get a surplus. Or if we overspent, then we get a deficit. And I want this to also be bold, italics, so that it stands out. And I want a total here. I want my total to be bold, and I'm just formatting before I add the values. So Control B, italics. So I format it, and I want to apply top and bottom border so that it's a number that stands out. And once I apply formatting in one place, I can format that, use a format painter, and then go down here and do the same. Okay, so here too we have the top and bottom border. Now I want my surplus, I just want to leave a space between that and this, so I just pull this down. I want my surplus to give me a condition. So if I'm overspending, it will show red. If I have surplus, it will show green. So I'm going to use conditional formatting here. I click on that, and I want the cell to highlight if the number is greater than 1. So I do that, and then I want it here, and say it says that it's going to be light red. I don't want that. I want it to be green if the format cells that are greater than 1. That means that I have some balance remaining at the end of the math. I do that, and it's going to do that for me. Good. So here I want it to be a total of all the incomes that I get. So I'm going to use order sum here. And again, order sum is up here. And it's asking me for the range, so I highlight the range that I want to sum up. And I hit enter. I want the same to be done here, so I use order sum again, and then I select the range. These don't have anything in them right now, but they're going to have numbers as soon as we are done. So, did that. Very good. So I want to give some short explanation for contingency. So here we want to say set aside some amount every month. Very good. Alright, so we did a template. This is more like a template. So let me also put a background to this, make it look like presentable. Yep, that's a clearer background. We're going to increase the font size to about font 14, bold it. It stands out. Our budget is not looking much better than before. Okay, so this is a template that we're going to replicate every month. Right, so here is where we label our sheets. Here is sheet number 1. If you want to change sheet number 1 to your preferred name, double click on it. First one is going to be January, so I just do Jan, hit enter. I want January to also show a color in the background, so I right click on it and then I go to tab color. Alright, and then you can choose whatever color you fancy. I'm going to do my January to be that color. Sheet number 2 is going to be my February in FEB to keep it short. So again, I'm going to do that till